Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool arcade repair video for you this evening. This is Atari's mighty Tempest arcade game. We are fixing this for our buddy Adam at the beach. And we already did one video on it, so if you haven't seen the first video, stop this video immediately and go watch the first one. In the first one, we looked over the power supply, did some wiring issues, and worked through it. And got the thing where it is up and playing blind. But it's playing blind because the monitor doesn't work. So on this video, we are going to repair the monitor. So it's got a color Wells-Garner vector monitor in it. A Wells-Garner 6100. So we're going to see if we can get it up and running. Mr. Adam operates these at Player's Choice Video Games in the Myrtle Beach Mall. So go check that out. And while you're at it, right here at the beginning of the video, give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film this for you, because we're going to get into it. We did one of his other games a while back. It was an Atari Star Wars. This is an Atari Tempest, and the Star Wars had the same monitor installed, this Vector Wells-Garner. And the issue that we ended up finding on it was that some of the transistors had blown on the frame here. So I think what we're going to do first on this one is check that. So just to recap really quick, we checked the power supply. Everything is cool. We checked the ripple on the big blue capacitor down there, which is actually the big green capacitor. They refer to it as a big blue, but this one is actually green. We checked some tape that was on the power wires down there and figured out that was cool. It was just a few little cut lines in it. We went up to the rectifier board here, the regulator board here, and it had a burnt resistor. So we did the sense mod, which a lot of people don't want to do, so I'm not saying you should. We just did on this one. So it's had the sense mod done, which to all you people that don't like that, I'm sure that's a horrible idea. And then the board set has been already serviced by someone before, so it seems to be working. You can hear it playing. But we are up to this bad boy. So, Mr. Adam has been trying to get this thing back up and running for a while now. And tonight's the night. I'm going to light it up and just show you what it looks like inside the high voltage unit. As I understand it, the problem was on the deflection board. So on our Star Wars, we didn't do much with the high voltage unit because it's had a flyback installed, a new one. Now the cage has been removed off of it. There's like a wire cage that goes around that. It's really a good idea to leave that on because it keeps interference out of the power supply, which will make if you leave that off, it'll make the screen wiggle a little bit. So you're better off leaving that on, but that thing has already been worked through. It's got a new flyback on it, high voltage unit. I doubt that's going to be the problem, but I guess we'll see here shortly. So the deflection board is out of it. I've got it on the bench in the back. I'll show you that here in a minute. But the first thing I want to do is I want to check these voltage regulators, or not voltage regulators. They may be these transistors. These bottle cap transistors that are mounted on the chassis. So just like in the Star Wars game, there was it had the same monitor mounted in it. Someone had swapped out the ampliphone at some point with this 6100. We're going to check these three. There's a fourth one, and then there's two over here. We're going to check to see if any of them are shorted. And the way I like to do it is just on the plug. So if you see, there's a harness here that runs to the two transistors, and there is a group of wires. Red, green, and yellow is one, white, blue, and purple is the other. You can check right there on those wires to see if the transistors are shorted, or if they're giving you a good diode reading like you do a diode check. And then you also check from the frame, one of the legs is actually attached to one of the wires. On this one, it looks like it's I suppose this blue one. I may have that wrong. But you actually want to check if the case of the transistor is shorted to the frame of the monitor. So we're going to check all that too. So let me go get my multimeter and we'll check that out first and see what we run into. Okay, we got our trusty Fluke multimeter. We've got it set on diode check. So I'm going to just take this connector here that has these two bottle caps attached to it, and we're going to check between our green wire and our red wire. It's not shorted, or green and our yellow, it's not shorted. And then we're going to reverse it. Red lead on the green, black lead on yellow. Whoop. So that's 0.507. From green to red, 0.503. Okay. So, you know, anything between 0.4 and 0.7 is usually good. So we're checking since these wires are connected to the transistor, you don't have to pull the transistor to check it, and you don't even have to test on the transistor. As a matter of fact, you could make the argument that it's much more important that the wires are not shorted. Yeah. So this way you're checking to make sure that the connection is good all the way up to the connector. So that one seems all right. I'm sure I'll find you one on here that is not all right. So blue and purple 0.483, that's fine. Blue and white 0.507, that's fine. So you notice those are different numbers, but they're within the range of 0.4 to 0.7 or so everything's cool. So those are not shorted. And then I'm just going to quickly test to see if the frame is shorted to the cases of the transistors. It is not. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to just do all of them right quick. Okay, so none of these, the frame is shorted to the transistor. Now I had it on diode check. You can put it on continuity check too, but either one, if it's on diode check, it gives you a 0. So none of the cases are shorted, and those two over there are testing fine, according to me. Okay, so let's check this set. Same deal. Now I don't ever remember. So the middle wire, there's two sets of 3 wires. So there's a purple, blue, and white one. So the middle wire is the blue one. That's the one that you test from. So like usually on a transistor you test from like the base to the collector and the base to the emitter. It's different on every single type of transistor, but that's just how I do it. And then the yellow, the green, and the red are the other set of 3 wires. So the yellow, green, and red go to one transistor. The purple, blue, and white go to another transistor. So, you know, that's 1, and that's 2. And I'm just checking them at the actual thing. So the middle wire on each set of 3 is the base that you check from. So I can't even remember which way we're going, if I need the ground on it, or yeah, there we go. 0.532, and then to the white one, 0.539. That's all gravy, baby. From the green one to the red one, 0.506. From the green one to the yellow one. Whoa. Whoa. .512, so those are good as well. I'm going to check them backwards just to make sure nothing's shorted that shouldn't be. Alright, so those 4 transistors so far seem to be fine. And then we've got this final set of the last 2. So let's check this out as well. .508. 0.503. Okay, jump down to this one. 0.535. 0.536. Wow. So I think all 6 of the chassis mounted transistors are just fine on this one. You know what that means? We might have other issues. So I think that's good. We don't know about the high voltage unit yet. We don't know about the neck board yet. And we don't know about the deflection board yet. But let's go check out the deflection board and see how that looks. So here is the deflection board. Now if you saw the one that we did on the Star Wars one, you'll notice this is very, very similar. It's a Wells Garner 6100 vector deflection board. And if you saw our Star Wars video, we had both of these games here at the same time. And on the Star Wars one, I needed a resistor to repair it, and I needed this resistor. And so the place that I was able to find that was off of this board that's supposed to be in the Tempest, but we didn't have the Tempest working yet. So I took the resistor off, put it in the Star Wars, and fixed it. And then I ordered new resistors and replaced this resistor with a new one. Now you'll notice that it says Dayton Audio Grade. It's a 1.5 ohm, 10 watt, 2% resistor. The audio grade means that it's low impedance, or as I like to say, impedance. It's low impedance. And that basically keeps it where resistance doesn't get into the circuit and screw up the picture on the screen. So they audio grade ones are the same thing. So you want an audio grade one if you replace that. So the problem we had was the entire Y circuit wasn't working. So we had horizontal deflection, but we didn't have vertical deflection. This is a Tempest, so it's actually the monitor's turned sideways. So, okay, so this board has already been worked through. I've tested all of the transistors, and I can't find anything wrong with it. So we're just going to have to put it in the machine and see what happens. On the other one, we talked about the low voltage section over here. And we mentioned that there was a device called an LV2000. Well, you're looking at it, baby. So what they do is, this low voltage section was a weak point of the 6100 Wells Garner color vector monitor. Originally there were a couple transistors mounted here on the board and a few resistors and a few diodes. And what would happen is those things would short out, and it was providing the negative 30 and the positive 30 volts or something like that to drive the deflection. And once that shorted out, your monitor would die. And some of the parts were a little undersized and all of that. So anyway, they came up with this board that not only has beefier transistors on it, but has these little adjustments too, where you can adjust the voltage to get it just right. And it has these little lights that tell you if one of the voltages is missing just by glancing at it. And there's some diodes and stuff. I believe too, I may be wrong, but I believe there's like a little protection circuit in it where it makes it a lot harder for it to fry. So that's what we've got going on. So somebody has replaced it. So what you do is you remove all of the parts that are in that area, and then you add this little board. So there's a couple wires that go up into place. And then, let's see here. There's something soldered there and there. And so the board solders in a few of the spots that the discrete components we're using, but most of them have been removed. If you look, that's just solder filling in the holes. But whenever you buy it, it gives you instructions, and it's super simple to do. The hardest part of installing one of these is removing all the stuff that's already on there. So there's about 10 or 12 parts that you have to remove. But you literally just pull them out of the holes. And whenever you're done, you put this in, I think, 4 holes, and you're done. And it's much more reliable than the original design. So lots of people do that. It's considered a mucho bueno upgrade. So I've checked all these diodes. I've checked the transistors. Everything seems fine. But I just checked everything on the frame, and it all seems fine too. And they sent it to me saying it doesn't work. So something's going on. I ain't found nothing broke with it yet. So we're going to put the deflection board back in it and turn it on and see what we get. Maybe there's a problem in the high voltage unit or something. But yeah, we'll check it out. I don't know why that's missing. There's a little cap that goes in there. But whatever. I'm sure that's not that big of a deal. So let's go bolt it back in, plug everything up, and we'll see what's going on. Oh, by the way, this was in the cabinet. Down in the bottom. ECG285. So apparently one of them had burned up and they swapped it. I don't know. I don't know, folks. Maybe they'd been messing with it and replacing the capacitors or the transistors, but hadn't put this back in yet or something. I don't know. The resistor that I took off was fine. I just took off a good resistor to put on the other board, and now I've put a new resistor back on it. So I find no fault in this board. Okay, folks, so I've slid it back in, hooked up all of the connections, got everything how it goes, put the neck board back on. Someone has left somebody a note that says, "Resolder ground to neck board." But as best I can tell, everything is soldered on the neck board. So they must have fixed that in antiquity. So, yeah, we're gonna turn it on. We got it plugged in. I haven't tried it yet, though. Now, we're going to sit here and watch it for a minute after we turn it on, just to see if anything catches on fire, blows up. So y'all are going to be here with me if it does. So if anything happens, call the police. Tell them I was murdered. So real possibility, it'll blow a fuse. Something may start smoking. Something may blow up. Sometimes stuff will pop or something. Or we might start hearing deflection chatter. I hear deflection chatter. See the two lights? You hear that? But I did not hear high voltage. You know, the psh, whenever the thing comes on. So I'm thinking maybe the high voltage unit is messed up. No, I see some neck glow. Uh-oh. Maybe we'll get lucky. We're not getting lucky yet. Let me crank up the brightness. I didn't hear any high voltage though. Oh yeah, I got it turned way up. So we must be missing a voltage. But I want you to listen really close to it, because this is what deflection chatter sounds like. It's going like. Okay, so I think we've got a high voltage problem with this one. You know, this makes a perfect bookend to my Star Wars one, because that one had a deflection board problem. So we fixed the deflection board on that one. On this one, we're going to see what we can do about the high voltage unit. Let me look in the schematics. Let's see what kind of voltages we need to be getting. What do you think about that? Okay, I'm writing down some voltages and stuff on our notepad here. Now, we've got some buddies down the road in Gastonia. They run a printing company, and whenever they come by, they're always nice enough to bring us a bunch of these pads so we have stuff to write on. And this is their last name. But for some reason, in the United Kingdom, I keep getting comments about these notepads. So, like, here's one, for instance. Never tire of seeing printing company notepads, laughing out loud. He'd do a roaring trade selling them on UK eBay. So I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, we're looking at the schematics here, and this is the high voltage PCB schematic. So here's how it works. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let me make sure I'm in the right place. Yes, I'm in the right place. Okay, okie dokie. So, coming off of the deflection board, maybe I guess I should start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Okay, so this area up here is the deflection board, okay? And so it gets the 50 volts from the bottom power supply that we messed with on the first video, and it does this thing, blah, 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 and then that LV 2000 creates the negative, what they're calling here, 27.7 and a 27.8 voltage. It's always so strange how exact they are. They're positive that it should be negative 27.7, but the positive should be 27.8. So anyway, whenever it creates that low voltage, it also sends it off the board. And so there is also a video B plus of 181 volts. I don't know if that's, I don't know which area, I don't know if that may be coming from the high voltage unit. I guess it probably is. But anyway, they send the 27 volts down over to here, and it comes in the board here. It does its thing, and ends up sending, I suppose, 181 back out. Is that right? 181 on that pin, etc., etc. Okay, so cool. All right, so that's what we're messing with here. Yeah, over here we're up to. Whatever. These are our measurements, people. We need to have on this one connector on the side, there's only one connector, at least one in connector. We need to have 27.8, a ground, 181, and a negative 27.7. So we're going to use the multimeter and go see if we've got any of those voltages. My guess is the 181 is probably missing. But we'll make sure these are where they need to be. Remember, you can set those on that board. You can turn them. And then we need this one as well. So we'll see if we're even in the ballpark. Okay, folks, so we're very carefully going to check the voltage, okay? This thing is turned on. And remember, one of those voltages is 181 volts. And if the high voltage unit starts working, many, many more volts, okay? So very carefully, we're going to check pins 1, 5, and 7. Pin 3 is ground, but you can also use the frame of the thing as ground. So here we go. We're on DC. Pin 1, 24.16. That's a little bit low, I guess. Pin 2, 24.26. Okay, yeah, that's the same thing. So 1 and 2 are tied together. 5 and 7. Here's the fun part. Trying to actually see which ones are which. Come on, you sucker. Well, I'm going to turn it off because I have to bend the wires up out of the way a little bit so I can get to them. They're right in the way. All right, now I believe I can see them. We're back on. If you ever turn a game off, don't turn it off and then right back on. That's bad. But if you wait a few seconds, you're cool. So 1 is supposed to be 27.8. We are getting 24.2. That needs to be adjusted up a little bit. Pin 7 should be a negative 27.7. Negative 26.8. Okay. And then finally, pin 5. It should be 181 volts. I personally think it's missing. One, two, three, four, 5. Okay, so it's 23.14. Okay, great. All right. I would adjust the low voltage, but I think there may be things on the high voltage unit that are screwing that up, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. So, okay, let's pull out the high voltage unit and look at it on the bench. Okay, folks, we got it out. Now, let's look. Do we see anything crazy? Now, what I saw was the output voltage, the 181, kind of seemed like it was I got 23, so that was kind of more what the pin 1 was doing. So that kind of almost seemed like there's a diode shorted somewhere, right? This thing has been worked on and had a cap kit and everything. So the capacitors have been replaced, and it looks like it's had extensive work done to it, but something must be shorted, or there's a resistor, I mean a diode shorted or something. What am I seeing at R919? Looks a little toasty, but I'll check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the part of the schematics that creates the 181 and see if I can discern that, and then see what keeps it, pin 5, isolated from pins 1 and 2. So here's 1 and 2. And then this is 5. So, let's see if there's anything that looks like it connects those. I'm checking. I'm just eyeballing it, see if I see anything obvious. Okay. Resistor. I do see some old diodes. Okay, so I'm going to look on the schematics and just see what it shows, and then we'll, it's got this transistor here. And it's got this little transistor here. Something's going to be shorted, that's my guess. So I'll see what I can find. Okay, folks, so I checked all the parts in that area and I couldn't find anything. And then I think I did find something finally. Are you ready? This resistor up here, this one, that's a little loose. If you look on the bottom, let me find it for you here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you see that burnt up trace right in the center there? So I'm wiggling the resistor. Why are you seeing something move? You should not be seeing something move, people. That should not be happening. So that solder is broke there. And so it's no longer making contact, and so that part's not working. So let's go see what's the deal. Now, I'm not an engineer, but this is the resistor right here. So that is no longer connected. So this is the transformer, the high voltage unit, and this is our output that we're missing. That's 181 volts. But right now we're getting 24 or whatever, right? So y'all tell me if I'm following this right. This is the flyback. This is the primary side. And it has I guess an output that it creates the 181 volt. I don't know. Look, people, I don't know. I know this is a 150 volt diode. I don't know, folks, but the top here is what's supposed to be 27.8. Remember, ours is like 24 or something. All right? So it comes along, runs through a resistor, runs through another resistor, runs through a capacitor, and feeds the, I guess, the primary of the flyback. I don't really know how flybacks work. So that's the positive. It's feeding that. And then down here on this end, it looks like the negative. Let's see if I can find it. So this is the negative voltage coming in. So the voltage comes in here, runs through part of this side of the little transformer, and then into this transistor, and it feeds the other side of the flyback. So I think this is probably missing because that resistor isn't connected. So this is floating or whatever. So this is like 24. And then you get the coil of the flyback, but then this is the output. There's a diode or resistor. It's supposed to be 181. And we're checking it right here, and we're getting 24. So I think what we're doing is we're measuring through the resistor, the diode, and the flyback, just the 24 or whatever that's hooked up. So I think that resistor being not connected is really screwing it up. So we're going to connect that back, which I guess will get the negative voltage on this side and make the flyback fly. What do you think about that? So I have a new one here. I'm going to pop this bad boy in. I think that's a little higher quality one. It's supposed to be 2 watt. That's at least 2 watt. So we'll throw it in and see what that does. Much better. What do you think? And I high watered it a little bit like the other one. Apparently those things get hot. Okay, so we're going to pop it back in and see if that changed our story. What do you think? You think that's going to fix it? I'm feeling confident that's going to fix it, but not because I understand what it's doing there. Just because I'm a confident type of guy. All right, I'm putting it all back in, and when I got it, these wires were just stuck in the housing. So there's supposed to be another side like this that must have got old and brittle and broke apart. But we're going to put it back how it was. So I'll slide these back up in there and get that back to factory specs. Okay, folks, we popped it back in. We're going to see what we get. I also, the transistor on the side, the bottle cap one, I took it off and checked it. It checked out fine. I unplugged the little 3-pin transistor in the smaller case. On the other side, it has a plug that goes to it. It checked out fine. So I can't find anything wrong with it except that bad solder, but I think that probably would have something to do with it not working. So let's see if we get anything different this time. Now, same thing, it might catch on fire, might blow fuses. You know, you never really know until you get them up and running. I heard it that time. Yeah, I can hear it. You hear the chatter? And I can hear a little bit of a whine. That sounds good to me. I don't see nothing yet. But it sounds different. You know what? I think I turned down the high voltage before. Let me grab a small screwdriver. See if we've got it turned down too low. The screen control in the back, the brightness. Okay, I can actually see a couple things flickering on the screen, so I think the high voltage is working. I'll try turning it up. I'm gonna touch it in the back. Y'all can watch. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, baby. Okay, so see the red dot popping up in the center? So you don't want that, okay? All right, so now it's kind of fuzzy, isn't it? See if we can do anything about the fuzzy. Oh! Holy crap! Okay, see the line up here? A little bit too bright. Okay, so remember though, whenever we mess with it, they're blowing me up on this phone. Okay, folks, so I'm going to adjust the voltages that were off. Remember that? The positive and the negative. I'm going to try to get them to about 25 volts each. In the original schematics, it says 27 and or whatever it was, 26 and 27. But on the instructions for the LV2000, they're saying negative 25 and positive 25. So I'm going to let you watch the front to see if anything changes as I do that. If I get electrocuted, call the police. All right, let's see what we get. I think you're supposed to do it with the signal unhooked, but I'm just going to do it while the signal's hooked up and just see what the different, what it bounces around at. How's that sound? Okay, so I got 24.1. 24.1. It's staying pretty steady at 24.1. So let me see if I can adjust that. All right. 25.1. What do you think? How's it look? I can't see. I can't see nothing. Okay, the other one is negative 23. Okay, I gotta watch it. Whatever screen that was, it made it change. So right now it's negative 23 still, but I turned it up. We're gonna see what it does on that. 24. Okay, so it's bouncing around a little bit. Okay, I think we're pretty good there. It got up to almost negative 25. And like I said, I think you're supposed to do it with no signal. So now we got to check the B+. B+, B+, B+. Remember we had 24 volts? Hopefully now we have more than 24 volts. There's an image on the screen, so I assume we do. Let's see what they're trying to tell us it is now. What do you think about that? Holy crap. It's almost perfect. How did I pull that off? It's 180.6, and I just guessed it where I set the knob. I'm leaving it. Like I said, I think you're supposed to do it with the video unhooked, but that wouldn't make a very good video, so. The only reason I did that was so you could see it. Now let's see how bad it looks. A little bit too bright. Okay, so we're going to turn down the brightness again. If I can find my screwdriver. All right, folks, that's enough for now. We ended up adjusting that Tempest for like an hour, adjusting the monitor and everything. So that would make the video too long. Of course, it's later now, and I'm working on something else. Can you tell what monitor this is just by looking at the bottom of it? So join us next time when we will finish adjusting the Tempest, and then maybe we'll finally get to play it. So we had it up and running, but it doesn't really look all that great. But we'll fix that on the next video. Stay tuned. I have the benefit of doing this from the future. So I know that we already did it. So we'll see you on the next one. So leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it. Make sure to tell us. We love whenever people tell us where they used to play Tempest back in the day. Like what location, actually. Like, did they have one at the gas station? Did you only see it at the skating rink? We love that kind of stuff. And what was the name of the place? That's even better because the names are always really cool. That's how we found out about Shakey's Pizza. We had never been to Shakey's Pizza, but apparently it was a big thing. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think so far. Also, we'd like to thank everybody that's been using our Amazon links. People have been buying all kinds of stuff on there lately. Thank you, folks. We appreciate that. If you don't know about that, there's a link to Amazon down below in several different countries. If you click on that link before you buy anything that you're planning on buying on Amazon, it gives us a little royalty out of your purchase there. So thank you, folks, for that. People have been doing that a lot lately. It's been picking up, so I don't know if maybe because I've been mentioning it in more videos, so people are seeing more of it. I don't know. But thank you for everyone that's been doing that. And also, check out my brother Donnie. If you haven't checked that out yet, my brother Donnie, literally my brother, has started his own YouTube channel, and he's pretty wild and crazy. There's a little something for everybody over there. You might enjoy some of it, you might not, but go check it out. It's really fun. I'm over there with him a lot. We were working on a mobile home that we restored. We're working on another building now, but we haven't uploaded any of those videos yet because we're trying to wait till we get farther along on it so that you don't think that we're going to abandon it midstream. He does some vehicle repair videos. Just does goat videos. Yeah, I'm throwing that in there. So go check that out if you haven't yet. But we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We stopping here because we got the monitor fixed. Now we just need to adjust it so that it looks good. It looks like crap, doesn't it? So we'll go over all that in the next video. But thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll see you soon.